Welcome back. This is my office. So I've moved to Wales as announced in the last video. I'm pregnant, which means I thought more time to do photography, but no, I can't walk very far and I can't carry anything heavy. And for other reasons, I've had to take a massive step back from any activity, very much bound to the house. So I'm going to try and take that in my stride, and I wanted to produce a video where I could frame up my own images, finally get them off the hard drive. I don't know if you guys have found, but I've got so many images. I've got thousands of images that just sat on my hard drive being unloved and unappreciated. So my plan today is I'm going to frame up, try and do my own mount board cutting with basic equipment. We'll see how that goes. And try and get these prints into a shop. My plan is to have these framed and ready to go in a local cafe, which in the long term is somewhere I'd like to start running some workshops. But all one thing at a time. Main thing is to start actually producing videos, which I think making good adjustments now and creating this video for you guys who got some content I think is going to be quite valuable. And how I'm going about this is let's go straight into what frames I'm using, what prints I'm printing, and the reasons behind that. Let's go. Washing up liquid, a sponge. This is for the glass so I can clean it all down. And secondly, I've got a cutter which I'll be using for my mounting equipment. Sometimes you have these parts here that need cutting around the edges. But this is a really cute frame. Really love the wood effect of this one. Looking at some of these frames, I find them just so fascinating. So this one here, you can see you got some pictures of artists, musicians, and if you look on the back, there's postcards. Some of these pictures are dated 1954, 1950, the Crazy Gang. I just find that so amazing, such character. So it's nice to give new life to this frame. So let's start off with this one. It needs a real good clean. I used the soap mixture previously described, as well as a mild glass cleaner, just to give it a really nice finish. Turning this one over, we need to access the rear of the frame by cutting the tape. I'm using a cutting knife to cut through the tape. This one was a bit of a challenge because it's a very old frame. The postcards inside are dated from the 1950s, so we're looking at a good 70-year-old frame here. Over time, you'll get natural discoloration of the paper inside, and the tape can be very sticky and difficult to remove. I will be reusing the hooks and the strings on this frame, so this can be hung on the wall. So once you have the back off, give it a real good clean and remove any of the excess tape. This tape is very stubborn, as you can see. I have used dish soap and soaked the tape for a little while and used a scraper to remove the excess. As you can see, it's going to be a struggle to remove all of the sticky tape without chemical treatment. This one was quite straightforward. Again, removing as much of the old tape as possible so you get to the bare wood of the frame. Unpin those stubborn hooks so you can get access to the rear of the frame. I always love opening the back of old frames to see what's inside. As with all second-hand frames, it's a bit of a surprise as to what you might find inside. So once you've got all of the rear hooks open, pop the rear of the frame, and inside here is a lovely watercolour image which I really like and I'll definitely keep. Always look at the existing mount board and see if it's something you can use. This colour doesn't quite work with the image, and the frame is also slightly frosted, which is unusual. But this one's ready to go. Let's talk prints. I use Locksley Colour. They're an online company who provide a number of printing services, such as framing, fine art printing, books and albums. They're based in the UK and Scotland, and I've used their services for a number of years and I found the quality of their prints to be really good. It's the same printer I use for my online prints. I like how the colours in the autumnal photos really pop and have a painterly feel. I find using a professional printer convenient, as it's quite expensive to print yourself. Buying a decent printer or running the ink costs can rack up, so it's nice to find a good quality printers based in the UK. Mounting your prints is key in making your images pop in the frame, although it can be challenging to get the right cut without a proper equipment. I'm using a cutter and a measuring board, and I'm doing it handheld by eye. So I start off by measuring the cut of the board I need. The board is sort of a brilliant white shade, and I've purchased from Hobbycraft in the UK. I've used existing mount board and the rear of the frame as a guide to help steady the cut. Make sure you have a good cutting board underneath so that when you cut your print, the blade cuts into the rubber, avoiding damage to the floor, and making it easy for your knife to glide as you cut. Next, you want to measure up the size of the window. You want to make sure the image is fully covered inside the frame, so the image fits snugly inside and is displayed well inside the window. Make sure your measurements are equal by using the cutting board ruler. This is a good guide at the bottom, and it's really key in making sure it's even and straight. When cutting, press firmly and pull evenly into the board below. I found the few that I did at the beginning were not as straight and I needed to cut firmly in order to get a good cut. So it's always worth a practice to begin. It's quite difficult to cut straight, so I'd recommend using a solid, straight object with a ruler as a guide. If cut well, it should pop out quite quickly. And here, you can tie the edges with the knife. And I think this one has turned out pretty well compared to my first. Then you want to place your image inside the frame and make sure that it is centered correctly. And once that's done, that's this image finished. Make sure everything is secure on the back, and I'm quite happy with this little square frame. This wooden frame has exposed wood, and I've decided to use some coconut oil to treat and nourish the wood. It's a really good natural conditioner and adds a nice shine to the wood panel. As I said before, some of these frames are really old and have probably never been cleaned or treated before. And this is the finished product. All that's left to do is apply masking tape to the back, just to help secure it in place and add the hanging hooks and string. Oh, that's my cat Lex. He's here to help and offer moral support. everything framed. I really love the results, and I think you can't go wrong looking for secondhand frames, and just doing it yourself is quite a good project. So the plan with these frames now that they're finished is to take them to a local cafe, which is a location I've been to many times. It's in my favourite forest in Wentwood, which is one of Wales's oldest forests, and there's a little cafe called the Glade there. They have a pottery section, they have artist work, and they've kindly let me have my photography there. And in the future, hopefully it's a place that I can go to for workshops and have some of you come and photograph with me. So let's head over to the Glade now, put these on the wall, and finally get some of my prints in a cafe for the first time. Let's go.
It was always on fire, our house, our dreams. We were dancing on a wire, reckless it seemed. We found holes in these walls, we like what we saw. Seems so strong until it falls, the final straw. Oh, I never felt like this before. When I was trapped, you showed an open door.
And that's the end of my latest video. Thank you so much for joining me. And please subscribe if you don't already. There's lots of things that you can do to help the channel, as I'm sure you know. I am looking at putting more time into the channel where health allows. I'll obviously have to think of me and baby, but I'm sure there's things that I can do creatively without having to do too much exercise. So leave it with me. Hopefully I can conjure up some videos over time that you guys will find beneficial. Let me know what you guys think of this one. Do you have hundreds of images on your SD cards, on your hard drives that are just waiting to have a little bit of love and care? Get yourself to printers, get them printed, and enjoy some of your work. You know, we've all spent a lot of time, energy, processing time into these images, and I'm sure some of them really do mean a lot to us. So get your stuff printed, and I will see you in the next video, whenever that may be. Take care.